Becoming a child of God doesn't mean that we are now perfect. It simply means that God is now present in our weakness, and that makes all the difference. Romans 8:23 describes the inner condition of the children of God. Deep down, we groan because our body is not redeemed, and it causes great tension with the spirit. So we eagerly anticipate the end, when our regenerated spirit will be totally synchronized with a redeemed body. But what happens before that? Is there anything we can rely on in the weakness of our body? Yes, just 3 verses after Romans 8:23, we are told what we have while anticipating the glorious end. So Romans chapter 8, verse 26. Now, in the same way, the Spirit also helps our weakness. For we do not know what to pray for as we should, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. Verse 23 accurately describes that as children of God, we groan within ourselves. Now, in verse 26, we are told that the Spirit groans together with us as well. This is the Spirit of God who dwells in all children of God. And God's Spirit translates our inner groanings into intercessions. He intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. Why the Spirit groans? Because the Spirit also anticipates the day our body will be redeemed. But meanwhile, the Spirit intercedes for us. Let me put it this way. We face many challenges as children of God. Not only we are dealing with this unredeemed body that is weak and corruptible. By nature, we are weak and corruptible. We are also dealing with the evil around us as well, the corruption of this world. If we truly are children of God, we will surely suffer in one way or another. Perhaps we suffer because the process of sanctification is tough. Perhaps we suffer because our renewed mind thinks very differently from the world. Perhaps we suffer because our renewed priority is difficult to keep in our surroundings. Sometimes these are obvious, like in regions that persecute Christians. Sometimes they are subtle, taking the form of our inner struggles which nobody knows. These are actually what mentioned earlier in Romans chapter 8, verses 16 to 17. The Bible already told us that. Here it says, the Spirit Himself testifies with our spirit that we are children of God. And if children, heirs also, heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ. Indeed, we suffer with Him so that we may also be glorified with Him. Now, as fellow heirs with Christ, we suffer with Him. Well, it is within our nature to have this tendency to avoid suffering and pursue comfort. These are sufferings we have to face as children of God. We don't ask for it, but we prepare ourselves for it because we are the children of God and we are fellow heirs with Christ. When sufferings of such nature come, we know 2 things. Firstly, we know that we are indeed fellow heirs with Christ because we indeed suffer with Him. Secondly, we know that the Spirit of God is interceding for us in our sufferings and in our weakness. The Spirit helps our weakness. As we groan, anticipating the glorious end, the Spirit of God groans together with us, and that is the Spirit's intercession for us. So whenever we are hard-pressed under the hardship of the current age, whenever we feel weak in the process of suffering with Christ, deep down, the Spirit of God resonates our inner groans with intercessions that sometimes we ourselves do not understand, because the Spirit intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. How can we understand that? Also, because the Spirit intercedes for us according to the will of God, not our will. Now, this is in Romans 8:27. And He who searches the hearts knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because He intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. We've been talking about verse 26, and now verse 27 says this. This is why we can understand, we can rest assured, because we have the best intercessor within us for all sorts of sufferings. He knows how to intercede for us. He groans with us, and his presence never leaves us. So, children of God, as we anticipate the end, know this: God is ever present. You're not alone, and you are fully covered in his presence. May the Lord help us all.